Okay, good morning. This is part one of two in relation to a property at 235 Queensway, which you're looking at right now. You're looking in an easterly direction, slightly northerly from more or less the southwest corner of the parcel, which is right basically at that sign there. And this is the parcel here. And we're just across a narrow two-lane, well, not narrow, I guess, but a two-lane road with parking on either side. And the 235 Queensway, I want to show you the orientation to the lake, which is right over here, and how proximate it is. This orientation and proximity to the lake is unmentioned in the appellant's brief, and I think it's important to understand how close this is. It's roughly, at its closest point from the property, it's roughly 50 meters away to the waterfront. And depending on exactly where you snap the line from the city website, it may be as far as 70 meters from other orientations. But here's the, some of the view you're going to have very, very proximate, 50 to 70 meters away. Obviously these low-rise buildings aren't going to be an impediment once you get above the second or third story level. And you can see the lake here. This is right along the promenade. And there's a boat storage, which we're going to see a perspective of in a minute, so I want you to understand the moorage along here, how close that is. Very close. Property's still over there directly westerly at this point, or directly easterly, and there's the lake view you're going to get. Here's the kind of tree canopy you have. There's a vehicle there to give you a little bit of perspective. These are the two largest trees, cottonwoods. The city has been taking down most of the cottonwoods through these three parks. The three parks are this one here, which is Kerry Park. All this here is Kerry Park. And then off in the distance there, City Park. And then just to the north, Stuart Park, that they're building some features on, promenades and things of that nature. So it's a string of three parks. And this is the tallest set of trees in this particular park, which would potentially obscure somewhat of the view. But I expect probably these cottonwoods are going to go down. Most of them have been found to be punky by the city. So anyway, here we are. And because it's unmentioned in the appellant's brief, and I know it's very hard for the reader of a commercial report to really try and unwind what's what when there's two different versions coming forth, or one version doesn't mention something and the other seems to put a lot of emphasis on it. I guess it boils down to why have they emphasized certain things. And so here's the northwest corner of the subject, where the Willow Inn used to be. This property over here is 1470 to 1476 Water Street. And here's how close the lake is again, very close. There's also this northern area here where you'd have a view if you had a north-facing suite. There's those boat masts there. That's the Grand Hotel. That would obscure your waterfront view. It's basically going this direction, okay? So in the northern suites you have a good view, but it's not as good as the western view, which views out much closer to the lake, directly on it once you get above the tree canopy. That's the highest one. Most of it's this height. So you have a pretty good view. Hopefully you've seen some of the structures in behind the alleyway at Bank of Montreal. Some of the older buildings on the back of Bernard Street there. Here's this beige building here, is 1470 Water. This property here was tied up by the same buyer as this. This was tied up in March 2003. This was tied up in June. This was first, and this was second, right? So this is the keystone piece here. Why? Because it has two orientations to views. This doesn't have the western orientation because you have the towers that would go up on this parcel here would block that. So all you'd have from this piece, I'm taking you right to the corner of where the Willow Inn, 235 Queensway and 1476 Water would meet. All you'd have is this northern view. Now you have to kind of envision it above, once you get above the grade level obstructions here, but obviously you can see those boat masts, so you know you don't have to get very high to start seeing the water there. There's the Grand, which is basically, you know, sort of your obstruction there. So you do have some view. It's a secondary one. Again, this property here sold for $130 a foot. It was the second piece tied up, $130 a square foot of land. This one sold for $237. Why? Well, my opinion, professional opinion, I guess, if you will, is that you've got two view orientations. It creates a lot of value on development parcels, so that's why. And I guess that's about it. So don't have a whole lot more to add, and I hope you find these videos instructive. I've actually done it a little backwards here because I had to, this first one didn't go. So what I'm going to do is spin you around to the end of where the second one began. So this is part 1 of 1, and I'll just skate you down the street here. This is Queensway. I'm now turning down Mill Street. Subject properties here on my left. Waterfront over on the right again. And taking you right down here along the street to speed up. YouTube only gives you 10 minutes. They're brutal about it. So get you over to the other side here where the other video ended or started. So here we are, Paramount Theater, and that's the end of part 1 of 2.